Welcome back to Gaelic Games Fan TV. It is the football preview show. We're going to be looking ahead to the weekend's football championship action. 3 games to discuss, 2 All-Ireland semi-finals and 1 Tailteann Cup final. We have Galway taking on Donegal. We've got Kerry versus Armagh. And of course, we have Down versus Laois as well. Joined here by John McMahon from the JMac podcast, who's going to help me preview all the weekend's games and predict them and everything else. John, how's life with yourself? Well, since we had you on the channel, have you been enjoying the championship football action and everything else that's come with it so far?
Yeah, my man, good to see you again, thank God, and it's a pleasure as usual to be on your show. Yeah, probably a lot's probably happened since we were probably last talking. I'd say it's been a good lot of change. Obviously, both of our counties are out of the championship. Unfortunately, I suppose more surprised by Dublin maybe than Cavan, but it's been good. It's been, I think. Yeah, the real sense is the fact that, I'm not kind of rubbing salt, but, the fact that we're knocked out, I think that kind of probably does put a bit, the cat amongst the pigeons, and you really could make a serious case for the last 4, to win the All-Ireland, whereas if Dublin were in this position the last couple of years, you could really just be saying, Dublin's just going to win Sam again. So, from that point of view, it was really put the cat amongst the pigeons. Games haven't been too bad. I thought the Kerry-Derry game a couple of weekends ago was just horrendous, really. There's no point sugarcoating that game one bit. Dublin Galway, you probably disagree on this one, but I think the quality of the game was pretty good. I think the Louth Donegal game, probably a bit of an inevitability about the game. I thought Donegal were obviously going to win it anyway. And then what was the other game? The other game was who else was playing? Was it? I can't think the memory. Who was the other game? The other quarterfinal. Can you think of that?
Donegal Louth.
I said Donegal Louth, Dublin Galway, and who was the other one? The other games, can't think of the other quarterfinal. Jeez, that just Dublin Galway, and then who was the other one? Kerry Derry, and who was the other one? Jeez, can you think of it?
I don't know. It's probably not a good sign if we can't remember it, John.
Yeah, so maybe it was a good game, but just that's a good one. Or sorry, it was not Mayo. Oh God, not Mayo.
Armagh Roscommon, that was the one.
Armagh Roscommon again, yeah, 100%, yeah, bang on the money. That wasn't too bad of a game. I think, again, probably a bit of an error of inevitability, but who's going to win that? I think it was just depending on how Armagh were going to play in that game. But no, it's been a grand couple of weeks. Obviously, with Cavan kind of being, and probably since the last time I was talking to you, probably a lot's probably happened since the last time I was on, and I suppose the All Ireland series. I know we're not probably here to talk about Cavan, but just a quick note, probably we were just outclassed in all 3 games, really. I thought we'd give a better account of ourselves against Roscommon. I know there was only 2 goals in the difference, but Dublin, you guys just made very light work of us in Breffni. Then the Mayo game we didn't really throw a punch either. So I think the loss of Paddy Lynch that time, he was a huge loss, and I think he probably was the only real scorer for Cavan all year, maybe Oisin Brady too. But lots happened since. Big games this weekend. You have the total final, you have the semi-finals as well. So it's hard to be at this stage already. It's a quick season really when you weigh it all up, because when the league's over, like Jesus, it really does fly, Aaron. But it's all to look forward to.
Absolutely, yeah. Like I suppose, yeah. Like for both, I don't know. I feel like semi-final weekend. Like I think someone alluded to it in the comment section of one of the videos yesterday, saying that the build-up for the All-Ireland football semi-finals has been a little bit underwhelming. Really, like there hasn't really been too much sort of build-up really in the All-Ireland football semi-finals. Like, would you agree with that? Like, we probably haven't seen a huge amount of build-up so far for the All-Ireland football semi-finals. And it was the same really for hurling semi-finals last week. Like, no real media day scheduled or anything like that. Like, for All-Ireland semi-final weekend, I know it's only Wednesday, like, it does feel a little bit quiet going into it.
Yeah, it does. Like, and I think this is probably a topic that we've been discussing probably the last couple of weeks at this rate of going. Like when you go on Ticketmaster there's lots of tickets going for these games this weekend, and I think from years gone by you'd struggle to get semi-final tickets, and I think it's probably the elephant really in the room at this stage, like the figures and the amount of people going to these games. But I just think it's probably the cost of the tickets. I think was a former Armagh goalkeeper alluded to the fact there of like the expense of a family. If a family's to go, it's you're €300 or €400 lighter if you have kids and bits and bobs to bring. So I think that's probably. I think the crowds are definitely down. The crowds were down at the hurling last weekend. Don't be wrong; it'll be packed house to the final. Everyone wanted to be at the final, but I think I think I think the GA is doing a very, very bad job of, I suppose, advertising the games this weekend. And we seen, was it Sean McGoldrick, the journalist, saying yesterday that the players weren't even released to the media yesterday in Croke Park. We couldn't get any insight from the players. So I think Pork Joyce was on off the ball, last year saying like we should be publicising the game so much more. We should be getting the players on. Managers should be talking so much more. So there's loads more we could do to advertise the game. And I know myself, yourself, and Matthew and Seamus Brady and all the other lads do such great work advertising the game and promoting the game. And potentially if it wasn't for us, like God would many be talking about the games, but we could do so much more. And I think this dinosaur tactics of not releasing the players to talk about the games again, and like the players are never going to give anything away this weekend. I just think that nonsense of we can't say from David Clifford can't go to the media day this weekend. Who's it? Rian O'Neill can't go to Croke Park during the week to talk about the games, or who's in the other semi-final. You've Donegal, you might have Paddy McBurty, or you have Shane Walsh. What realistically are the players going to say? So I just think we're shooting ourselves in the foot regarding promoting the games, or regarding not letting the players talk about the games. And I just think the general PR around the games is so bad. I think a ticket pricing thing is very poor as well, and it's not really affordable for families anymore. So there's loads of stuff that Charlotte Burns probably really needs to have a look at. And I think it's startling in this day and age that Sean McGoldrick is tweeting that, saying yesterday. Whereas when you look at other sports, like even look at the Premiership, maybe you look at the Six Nations, like I don't think any other sport is doing what we're doing. Like, so I know obviously we're here to talk about the games this weekend, but there's so much more we could do to promote the game that we're not doing.
Absolutely, yeah. Like there's so much really we could look into and everything else. Most definitely that the GA do need to look in. But look, we'll crack into the games. And anyone who is tuning in, do let us know, obviously, in the comments, your thoughts on the games and everything else, and your predictions and everything else that goes with it. I suppose we'll start with the game on the Saturday, and Kerry are taking on Armagh. Armagh's obviously first All-Ireland semi-final since 2005, and of course for Kerry, they're in the All-Ireland semi-finals pretty much every year, barring the odd crazy shock and everything else. Kerry are slight favourites, there's no doubt about that. But you feel like Armagh do have a chance though, because I think Kerry have looked very, very good, and we know what Kerry bring to the table. But I do think if Armagh can click and get after this Kerry team, they are more than capable of beating this Kerry team. What do you think?
Yeah, no, and I think that's probably a lot. That's what a lot of people would be saying in terms of, if Armagh are to go back into their shell and go, play this kind of defensive football, protect the ball, kind of go back to the old style. Whereas that game a couple of weeks ago in Derry, that just blew Derry out of the water and kind of played out of themselves. So I think the general commentary going into this game is, if Armagh go into their shell and just start to just kind of play defensive, maybe hold back certain players and do this, and I think they will fall back on themselves, and that could allow for a Kerry win. I hope to God it's not like the Kerry Derry game, because it's an All-Ireland semi-final. You really want a good game of football. We're crying out for a good game of football at this stage. It just depends really what Armagh show up. I think it's enough incentive. The fact McGeaney has been there 10 years, it's a huge opportunity. And don't get me wrong, it's still a very, very good Kerry team, and probably favourites for the All-Ireland. But I think they really need to have a cut at this. They really need to play to their strengths. There could be a bit of stage fright. There could be a bit of nerves in Croke Park on Saturday, make no doubt about it. But I think if they start playing like the way they did the last out, and even the game before, I think even the Westmeath game, or sorry, no, that was Derry, or previous games, even like the Galway game a couple of weeks ago. I think you could only really look at a Kerry result, but whereas I think if Armagh cause a bit of chaos, play Rian O'Neill inside, get him on the ball as much as possible and just kind of play to their strengths, which we all know they can do. I really think they could cause Kerry a lot of bother this weekend, because I just think, as I said a couple of seconds ago, the clock's running out probably for McGeaney at this stage. The clock's probably running out for a couple of the senior players in that Armagh team. So I think they really, really need to have a cut this weekend. If they don't have a cut this weekend and play within themselves, they'll only have themselves to blame.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Perfect. I could hear it first. I could hear it there anyway, but it kind of sounded like something from Matt Bear's match or something. I don't know. See, it's a bit of a different. It is a bit of a different setup. So I'm using the headphones as well. So it's a little bit unusual. But you're mad to get home, Aaron. You're mad to get home.
That's it. I have to get back to. The funny thing is, I'm going to be at a wedding as well when the semi-finals are on. So that's in London. So. Yeah, it's been a busy old time. But what I was going to ask you was about Armagh. Like, why do you think they are playing within themselves? Like, why are they so cautious when they get the ball at different times? Because I think we've saw that on numerous times, really, throughout the last few seasons, especially in big games. Like, we didn't see it too much against Roscommon. I thought it was a game they were always in control in. But they are so cautious. They always look like a team that's afraid to take a risk, that's afraid to take a chance. And you feel like when they do take a risk and when they do take a chance, more often than not, like you see the quality of Rian O'Neill, Stephen Campbell, Conor Turbot. So what is it? Like, are they so afraid of losing, or is there something more tactically, do you think, that's sort of stopping Armagh in these big games?
Well, I think it has to come out of them this weekend. It just simply has to, because like if it doesn't, they'll kick themselves in the foot and they'll not get to an All-Ireland final. Like, if they go back to this, and this is a very, very good Kerry team that they're coming up against. This is a well ran ship by Jack O'Connor. The likes of Sean O'Shea, David Clifford, Paddy Clifford. They have a lot of firepower up front. So to cause them a lot of bother. But I don't know. It's so hard to know, because I always reference when you've Kieran Donaghy, when you've Kieran McKeever, when you've Conleth Gilligan, when you've who else is it? Donaghy mentions as well. You've Conleth Gilligan, Kieran McKeever, and Kieran McGeaney at the helm. It's really hard to know from that point of view. Is it like a coaching thing, or is it just like, are them guys, saying, right, protect the ball. If we have a bit of a lead here, go back with it. Don't take shots that are not on. All these wee bits and bobs, and just kind of nearly be robots to a degree, and don't express themselves. But it is so hard to know. Is it psychologically? As you say, are they afraid of losing? Is it just a case of protect the win? If they're winning by a point, just protect that. Protect that point and don't push themselves on. So look, it's fascinating. It'd be good work for maybe a psychologist to do. Geez, to read into the Armagh setup and how they've came up short in a lot of games, but. I said it a couple of minutes ago. I think if they do that this weekend, I think they'll be at their absolute. They will absolutely be kicking themselves. But then look, you throw caution to the wind, because again, this is a very well-schooled Kerry team. You don't want to act the. You don't want to F up too much. You kind of want to, the quality kind of you are kind of come up against. So they don't want to kind of, okay, we'll just lump balls inside and, let's just, have, let's just, I wouldn't say have the crack, but let's just, just throw our hat at this. They want to be very kind of tackle about it. One big thing for them is obviously Kieran Donaghy being in the backroom team for Armagh. As someone said earlier on, he probably will be the Kerry manager in the future, but he obviously has this task to take care of before. He'll know them Kerry boys inside and out. So, that aspect of things is very interesting. But look, it's a big game for Armagh. It's Croke Park. It's Saturday. It's going to be cagey, but I really hope to God it's not going to be like the Derry game, because I think we like that Kerry Derry game. I think it sucked the life out of everyone. So we're really hoping for a big game. But again, McGeaney, he'll be well aware of the threat the Kerry pose this weekend too. And when Kerry are firing, there is a lot of fires to put out.
Yeah, Gaelic guy has a comment here. He says, "Is there penalties? I can't do this again." Yeah, I think all Armagh fans will be hoping that there's no penalties, but I'm pretty sure if it does go to extra time and beyond, I think penalties are unfortunately on the agenda again. I know they're not on the agenda in All Ireland finals, so you'd be happy to hear that if Armagh do get there. But yeah, who knows? Like surely Armagh Kerry can't go to penalties again.
Oh, I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised. Well, one thing I hope the Armagh lads are practicing their penalties this week because if it does go to it, it could well go to it. You wouldn't know. It could go down to the wire again. But as I said, if Armagh go back to this playing within themselves, as was it Kevin Kennedy said there on Monday, Kerry could be looking at a 5 or 6 point win.
Absolutely. Yeah, Gaelic guy also says here, Armagh play more defensively when they're playing a team in a big game. They're expected to be whoever Armagh going in as underdogs could definitely benefit them. Yeah, like I feel like they've gotten over that quarter-final sort of voodoo a little bit. And Kerry obviously will be massive favourites, so I do think that probably will suit them. Like I think if Armagh were to lose this game by 2 or 3 points, I think a lot of people would probably say, well, it's probably expected, that way. But it is that thing. Can they go and take the next step? Mikey says, when was the last time Armagh played Kerry in the championship?
Great question. That's a good question. That'd be a good quiz question for like a pub question or a pub quiz night before the game, maybe. I don't know. God, if we've any encyclopedias there, you're hardly talking about 2005. You're hardly, would you be? No,
I think it might be. Yeah.
Yeah. It could well be. It could be, but definitely. They've obviously played each other a lot in the league, but championship. Yeah, it's been quite some time. Yeah.
Yeah, like what have you made of Kerry so far this year? I mean, it is interesting. Like they're coming into this game, what feels like they're undercooked. It feels like they haven't been challenged. Like they should have got a challenge really from Derry, but they just didn't. And obviously Mickey Hart has since left and everything else. And I think the wheels have fallen off for Derry, and I think that's been spoken about. But like they absolutely breezed their way really through the group stages. They obviously earlier in the year in the Munster Championship found a way to get over the line in those games as well without playing particularly brilliant. So it is very, very hard to really know where Kerry are at. Like the quality, how good David Clifford is, Sean O'Shea, Tom O'Sullivan's obviously been in great form, and they do have a knack of coming through these games, which probably does stand to them. But where do you think they're at going into this?
Well, I haven't. I think a lot of people are kind of saying they haven't been tested yet and so on and so forth. But I think it's a case of maybe is there a case of Kerry haven't been okay? They haven't been tested yet, but have they been enjoyable to watch? Have we been coming away? Oh, there's a quarterfinal. Have we been coming away from any Kerry game in the championship so far saying Kerry actually played very well there? I think the Derry game, I know Christian McCaig and David Clifford got into a few bits and bobs, and maybe Clifford didn't express himself to as much as we wanted to be, but I think they could have potentially opened up against Derry in that second half, and they didn't really. I think Jack O'Connor was obviously criticised for maybe not playing great football and defensive football and so on and so forth, and maybe some of that was deserved, but I think they haven't. Maybe it's a case of Kerry actually haven't been that good and haven't played that well, and I know the general thing is they haven't been tested, and Munster's never going to be a test for them, but we probably haven't really seen haven't been blown away by any of the performances even in the Munster final there a couple of weeks ago too. So we probably are due a very good Kerry performance. Is it going to be this weekend? Is it going to be potentially the All Ireland final? We'll have to wait and see. But a lot of people are probably thinking okay, David Clifford's probably not firing, or maybe he's getting really well marshalled in games, and maybe if David Clifford's not playing well, Kerry's not playing well or something. But I think the likes of Paddy is stepping up. I think Paddy's been he's been good. Brian O'Begliach obviously getting man of the match the last day out. He was impressive from a very unimpressive performance, but I don't think that we've been blown. I don't know about you, Aaron, but I haven't been blown away by the performances in the championship, where they could have really let rip against Derry, in the quarterfinal, and maybe they just didn't want to or need to, or maybe job was done and they didn't have to impress. But look, Kerry and the way Jack O'Connor goes on. And this is probably he's a very kind of quiet sort of man. I imagine he'd be pretty stubborn. So I don't think, to be honest with you, I don't think Jack O'Connor be off the opinion. Let's impress Adam Prendergrass. Let's impress young man. I don't care. Let's get results here. I don't care how we play. Get over the line. But look, I think a lot of it is probably based down to Clifford. I think if David Clifford was shooting the lights out, and this is how good he is, and how he takes over all our attention. Really, if he's probably quiet, people probably say, "Oh, sure, Kerry's probably not playing that well or not doing that well." Like, that's nearly how instrumental he is,
Absolutely, yeah. Like it is very reminiscent of Kerry in the past. Like I think last year they weren't looking great up until the quarter final, and then they absolutely blew Tyrone away. And I remember a lot of people backed Tyrone going into that game. You think back to 2009 as well, where they weren't looking good before the quarter final, and then obviously blew Dublin out of the water. So like there is that kind of thing about Jack O'Connor and Kerry where they're kind of tipping along quietly. And I think in the groups they played all right. Like they beat Monaghan out of the gate. They beat Meath obviously out of the gate as well, beat Louth very comfortably, but did all three of those teams underperform on the day? They probably did. So like that, it is the thing with Kerry is that you know how good they can be. You know they can click into gear, and you know all their players can raise their levels if needs be. So like you always feel like maybe they're just one big performance away from clicking. And to be fair, if they were to click for this game with the All-Ireland final in a couple of weeks, it'd be very, very hard to look past them within the All-Ireland from here.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm saying. So you're kind of thinking, right, will the real Kerry stand up? But again, I think if David Clifford does kind of have a game of it this weekend, which I don't, to be honest with you, I think Armagh probably will try to, just squeeze the life out of him and just put two and, get the kind of bully boy tactics in for this Saturday and probably just try and make life hell for him. But, I think it is probably, will the real kind of Kerry, to be honest with you, Aaron, will the real Kerry stand up and will the real Armagh stand up? Because I said that about Armagh after the Derry game. I know the Armagh were excellent against that game, but they've gone back into their shell and Kerry haven't been overly good. So you're probably hoping for both teams to play to their full potential this weekend. None of this hitting off the ball BS, just go at it, point for point, high score and a good semi-final, because we normally have got good semi-finals in the last couple of years, and just go at it. Like, it's probably going to be a physical game. Is it a game where we potentially see a red card? Potentially on either team, you would not know. Kieran Donaghy he'll have every trick under the book for these Kerry lads, but it's definitely going to be interesting. But I think Kerry, it's starting, and obviously fair play to Brino Berger getting man of the match, with their wing out back. But for Kerry to be so attacking and always been on the front foot for their wing out back to get man of the match the last day out, kind of probably says its own story. But it's going to be interesting. It's probably about time we see Kerry just kind of let rip. And is it this weekend? If there's any Armagh supporters, they're probably hoping they don't let rip this weekend. But just haven't been overly impressed with them. But look, this is the weekend. This is the opportunity for them, and let's see
it. Absolutely, yeah. Like, I suppose Rian O'Neill. Like, what kind of role can we see from him for Armagh? Like, he was obviously substituted the last time out versus Common. Came off with about 20 minutes to go, and didn't seem entirely happy when he came off as well. Like, how important can he be, or what kind of role can he have in this game? Because he probably hasn't had his best year, if we're being perfectly honest.
No, I'm laughing. Our fellow pundit Kevin Kennedy said in my podcast there on Monday that he thinks Rian O'Neill should come on in this game in like the last 15 or 20 minutes, and he got well, let's just say he got a few interesting replies. But look, maybe I'm the kind of glass half full kind of person. I don't know what you think, Aaron, but I think it's an interesting point in terms of, if this game is like the kind of Kerry Derry game and it's defensive and it's cagey and it's 8-8 with 15 minutes to go, and you bring on Rian O'Neill, then I could probably understand what Kevin's saying, maybe, and he brings a bit of life to it, and everyone, like, it's kind of like Peter Canavan coming on against Armagh back in 05, or even Yorma or Jerver Connolly coming on in 2019. Everyone just says, "Whoa, what's happening?" So look, if it's cagey and if it's a dull sort of affair, then I could understand what Kev's saying. But he probably does need to start. A lot of people saying he probably needs to start in full forward, cause a bit of havoc for that Kerry full back line, which has been fairly dodgy the last couple of years, make no doubt about it. And it's funny, Paddy Talley, defence-minded coach in there. It's interesting how Kerry's been like that. But full forward, let the ball into him, cause a bit of havoc. Don't get me wrong, they kind of have been tinkering with midfield. Hasn't been fantastic in that position the last couple of games. So I think try him in there. That's where he was born to play. That's where he's played all his life. Big game this weekend. Look, try him in there, I'd say, probably for 15, 20 minutes. If it's not working, let him drift out to maybe centre half forward line. Get him on a bit of ball again. But for a very dodgy Kerry full back line, I think it's definitely worth trying. Johnny Murtagh said yesterday that if Armagh are to get over the line, Rian is going to have a big say. Obviously, Johnny knows Armagh like the back of his hand. It's a very good point. If obviously Turbo up there as well, he'll cause a lot of bother. Soupy Campbell to potentially come off the bench. You have Oisin O'Neill, but Rian, obviously a lot of pressure on him every day he goes out, every game he goes out. I think, again, we need to see a big performance from him because I think he will have a big say in it this weekend. But from Armagh's kind of advantage, they've kind of such a strong bench as well that could potentially win the game for them, and probably the strongest bench in Ireland to a degree, Armagh, I'd say. But bit underwhelming from Rian again. He probably wasn't about for much of the league. In and out of some kind of championship games, but it'd be good to see him have a good game this weekend because, look, you want to see the big, like, your David Clifford, Rian O'Neill, Sean O'Shea, Paddy Clifford, Soupy Campbell's, all these boys. You want to see the best players have good games, and let's hope it's this weekend again.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I think it's an interesting point, like having him on the bench. Like I do understand it to a certain extent because he hasn't really played well in the last couple of games. I thought he did all right, to be fair, against Galway, but against Roscommon probably wasn't his best game. He's been in and out. He hasn't always started. He's obviously had a couple of injury issues earlier in the year, but I think a player like him, like his presence, what he can do, if he's at his best, that could be the difference. That could be a huge difference. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. Like I think it could be cagey, like you said, just given the nature of how Armagh obviously played so far this year, how Kerry have obviously looked as well. Like you do feel like it's there for either side, but Kerry probably are a bit more reliable in these big games, in fairness. But Caleb Guy says here, to be fair, Kerry have been defensively poor. We need goals to win the game. Yeah, Kerry have conceded a lot of goals in the championship so far this year, but they actually didn't concede a goal versus Derry, in fairness. Prediction-wise, what are you thinking then? I mean, Kerry are the obvious pick here, but like given the way this championship has gone, like obviously Dublin losing to Galway, in hurling you obviously had Limerick getting knocked out by Cork. There's been plenty of surprises, shocks, thrills and spills. I would not be one bit surprised if Armagh won this game.
Look, it's a huge opportunity for them. It's a huge opportunity for them. And look, this, it is still a very, very good Kerry team. They're still on a big journey to probably some of the best players in Ireland still playing. But, there a point around this is as well. I think you're talking with the management teams there. You have winners in Kerry. So Jack O'Connor has a track record of winning his All-Irelands. You have Paddy Talley. He's won 2 All-Irelands. He won 1 with Tyrone. He won 1 with Kerry. You have Mike Quirk there as well. So from the management point of view, I think that could be a big thing, because you have genuine winners in there, winners there that have kind of got over these games. Whereas with Armagh, I just feel it's always been heartbreak hotel with McGeaney getting to these positions and just not getting over the line. Donaghy's only in the management sphere, so you can't really say much about him. Conor Gilligan was part of Mickey Moran's kind of backroom teams, and I suppose if it kind of comes back, it could the tactical end of things, and obviously your management team gets you over the line. I think from experience alone, I think experience is so key in any walk of life. I think Kerry will just get the job done. This, as you say, you could be in for a surprise, and Armagh could upset the odds. But look, I think Kerry will just get over the line. But I think Armagh put in a big performance. It could be the last chance saloon for McGeaney. It could be the last chance saloon for a couple of them senior players to get to this particular position. So if Armagh go out, like if you're an Armagh player, just go out, enjoy the occasion, express themselves, don't play within themselves, go at Kerry, go at that full back line, see what you can get from it and just play to their strengths and just don't play this negative, boring football that they've kind of in the last couple of games, and it could be thereabouts. But I just think from experience alone, just Jacko's, cuteness, I suppose, probably will get Kerry over the line. But it's funny, it's the type of game where I can't, and we all look out for David Clifford every single game he plays, but I just can't see. I'd say Clifford's probably in for another quiet day at the office because there's a huge chance Armagh is going to get in and around him and probably make life vital for him. So it could be, as I said earlier on my own pod Monday, it could be a huge game for Paul Geaney to step up potentially. You could be looking at Darren Moynihan, you could be looking at obviously Sean O'Shea. So Geaney or some of the boys could be worth watching. But look, I think Kerry, from experience alone, will get the job done this weekend.
Yeah, I think Tony Brosnan played well the last day as well, so he could possibly be a big player who could step up from a Kerry perspective. But yeah, I'd love to see Armagh do it. Obviously, as a Dublin man, I'd love nothing more to see Kerry crash out. But I do think Kerry will win the game. I do think they'll find a way to get over the line. Like as you said before, they've been here before. They've done it. They've worn the t-shirt. And to be fair, like I don't think Jack O'Connor has lost many All-Ireland semi-finals as well. Like he must have a brilliant track record if he's even lost any All-Ireland semi-finals. Very few anyway from what I can remember. So I think Kerry will grind it out. I think it'll be 1 or 2 points. But look, I think as a Dublin fan, we're all with you, Armagh. We are certainly with you. There's no doubt about that. But whether that means that, I don't know. But the other game, Donegal versus Galway, bit of a interesting semi-final this because obviously Galway shocked the Dubs. Donegal got over the line, obviously, versus Loud as well. I think what Kerry Armagh, you can make I think a lot of people would probably side towards Kerry, but this game very, very hard to call. Like I don't know who. I haven't even checked the odds on this to see who's the favourite, but like both sides are going in incredible form. Really, like Galway have just got the win of their lives. Donegal as well have looked brilliant all year. I know they had that slip up versus Cork, but overall they've been absolutely brilliant. So like this. To be fair, like when you look at how both of these two have played as well, like this would be game of the weekend. Like I'd imagine this game will probably be more exciting than the Kerry Armagh game.
Yeah, I think so. I think again, if that Kerry Armagh game's not quite negative, I'd be very surprised. But yeah, this one's going to be good one. I think it could potentially go all the way. It could go to extra time. It could go to them dreaded penalties. God only knows. It's going to be a good one. Obviously, Jim McGuinness's experience in Galway at that time, he'll know with these Galway lads, and we've seen Eamon Brannigan kind of talking, the former Galway footballer, former Galway footballer, being on Willie Parks' podcast this week, kind of talking about maybe Jim McGuinness's training methods and bits and bobs. This week, but look, it's going to be cagey. It's going to be tight. Like my God, but I suppose before we kind of crack into the game, what an achievement for Jim McGuinness to get the Donegal lads to an All-Ireland semi-final after the year they had last year. Like after a very forgetful year last year, like as Finian Hanley there said in my podcast there a week or two ago. If McGuinness get Donegal to an All-Ireland final and potentially win it, it has to go down as one of the great sporting achievements in fairness, and there's been lots, but for where they were last year, it just goes to show the man Jim McGuinness is. He's next level stuff. He's an inspiration to them Donegal people, and I had the pleasure of being at the Dulce final there a couple of weeks ago, and like my God, the sea of yellow and green after was just unbelievable, and it was just incredible to look at. He just has Donegal back on the map. He has Donegal supporters believe, and he's the people. He's an amazing person, and he's gave that county such a lift. Really impressed with Paddy Mogan this year. He's been having an incredible year. He's so quick. He's so obviously he's a very balanced sort of footballer. He gets up and down the field so quickly. So he could have a big say on Sunday. Obviously, you're looking at the likes of Oisin Gallen, kind of Paddy McBrady, Ryan McHugh, the experience kind of aheads for this weekend too. So it's going to be a very interesting game, Aaron, as you said. It probably will be the better from the two All-Ireland games this weekend. Galway, Damien Comer and Shane Walsh this weekend. Obviously, the fitness of a pair of boys, if they're fit, Galway could be thereabouts, very much like the Dublin game the last year out. So it's going to be very, very, tactically, it's going to be very interesting. Jim McGuinness says after the game the last day that he's if Donegal aren't to win it, he'd like to see Galway win it. So I think that was obviously very nice words for him to say. But it's going to be to be honest with you, I don't know. The way Donegal have been playing this year, I can't see it being tight. Galway's not negative either, so I think with the help of God, with the grace of God, it will be score for score, none of this negative nonsense. A proper semi-final. Both teams probably don't have. I don't think Galway, Donegal very much like Armagh, Kerry. If a comment could comment, when was the last time Donegal played our Galway Championship? Was it 2015 potentially? But look, we're hopefully going to be in for a bit of a shootout. Oisin Gallen against Shane Walsh. Fingers crossed, we're in for a belter.
Absolutely, yeah. It should be a cracker. In fairness, Joe says here, hello mate, Armagh fan here. Have you talked about the match v Kerry yet? Yeah, we were speaking about it earlier. If you rewind the stream, you should be able to find it. D Walt says here, Armagh with 2 points. It's their first All-Ireland semi-final. They will give it all. Yeah, look, I don't know if that's always how it works, to be honest with you, but I would love to see that. I would certainly love to see Armagh do it, in fairness. But anyway, look, back to Donegal and Galway. Do you remember Jim McGuinness taking a training session with the Galway footballers during COVID?
Grueling, tough.
Yeah, like McGuinness and Joyce, obviously best mates as well. Like, I mean, it's going to be interesting, all right, to see, because we know Jim McGuinness, we know what he's like. Like, he takes everything in, and I'm sure he took a lot in that training session. And I just wonder, could those little small details, like, could that be maybe what gives Donegal a slight edge in this game, maybe?
But this is kind of what I'm saying, Aaron. Like, he's that astute and he does his homework that much. And like, my God, like I keep saying to people, I'd love like you see with like an evening with Manchester United players, the Liverpool players, and like an insight. Like, I would happily sit down for 3 to 4 hour evening with Jim McGuinness and just get an insight from that man. He just seems so inspirational. But I think he, as you say, he definitely would have picked up a lot from that Galway setup. How to work, how to train, how to shoot, how to defend, how to attack. So he definitely would have picked up a good lot from the amount of work he probably would have done with the Galway lads. But obviously him and Pork Joyce. So look, from that point of view, it's very interesting. Maybe Pork Joyce, it probably felt like the right idea at the time, but he's potentially regretting it this week with the semi-final coming up. But I think he, like a lot of people saying, like, I think McGuinness will have a plan for Galway this weekend. He's a plan for every team he plays against, but particularly this game, he'll have his homework done on a lot of them players. And I think that's probably a lot of the commentary. A lot of people saying, like, McGuinness is probably worth 3 or 4 points to this Donegal team with his tactics alone. So no, it's going to be very interesting, that sort of dynamic. The sideline banter will be interesting between the pair of boys, but look, he's just changed the whole landscape for Donegal once again. And obviously, sure, look at his backroom team. Like, you have Colin McFadden and Neil McGee, and they're obviously won the All-Ireland with Jim that time. So obviously they're giving a lot of sterling advice there too. But he's just, he's a remarkable man.
He absolutely is, in fairness. And it's interesting with Galway though, all right, because I think even their style and how they've set up this year, like, they actually look more like a Jim McGuinness team than Jim McGuinness's Donegal, if that makes sense. Like, I mean, Galway have been arguably one of the best defensive teams in the country. Like, they've been shutting teams out. They shut the Dubs out very, very well, obviously, in the second half. Only conceded 5 points. Only conceded 1 goal so far in the championship, and that was versus Armagh. So you do feel like Porrick Joyce maybe has taken a bit of a leaf out of the McGuinness playbook maybe in the last few years, as we saw Galway. Like, they still offer a lot in attack, and I don't think they're overly as defensive as what Donegal's Jim McGuinness were in his first spell, but they certainly are very, very well set up defensively, and I do think they could frustrate the living daylights out of Donegal at different times on Sunday.
Yeah, I think they will. And like, that's probably what it boils down to. Like, we're talking about I think the usual marksmen here of Damien Comer and Shane Walsh, but I think Shane Walsh, he kicked some brilliant points the last year against Dublin. The Shane Walsh get that space again against Donegal? I'm not too sure. He will have a tagger. He'll have a tagger on him this weekend, and obviously Comer inside, he'll be well marshalled as well. So I think the Empire boys will not get the space they got the last day, and obviously the fitness is going to be a huge thing for them as well. But I don't know. This is what I'm kind of saying. The way Donegal, in fairness, have been playing this year, up and down the pitch, fast moving football, I can see, with the help of God, it being a free-flowing game this weekend, because Galway don't kind of like playing that. But like, a key thing is as well, the Galway defence is very stout. We talked about it all year. It's a very strong defence. They don't allow space for anyone. So it could be a long afternoon for Oisín Gallen unless he drifts out to that 45, 30-yard line, for long range shooting, because he's not going to get much ball inside. So that could lead for Paddy McBurdy to kind of be drifting out as well. It'll be interesting to see McBurdy's role. I know, even awarding Paddy McBurdy, like, he's been, he's captain this year, obviously, the leader of the team. My God, he's been playing for 2011, and he's looked after himself so well, and he's been ever present, McBurdy. But it could be even a big game for Paddy McBurdy to kind of step up, because I still think, and I think me and you had this conversation maybe a year or two ago, he's been quiet for Donegal due to I know a couple of niggly injuries along the way, but McBurdy has been relatively quiet for Donegal in the last couple of years. So it's a big game for him. It's a big occasion. So it's going to be very interesting from that point of view. But Oisín Gallen, it could be potentially a tough day at the office for him on Sunday, because that goal defence, as I have said, has been very good. Sean Kelly's fitness as well. I seen Finian Hanley on Off the Ball this morning talking about Kelly potentially being in or out. That could be a huge talk point going into it too. But probably, Aaron, when you weigh it up, this probably will be the better of the two games, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I think so as well. Like, especially when you look at what both teams are scoring. Like, Donegal obviously putting up 123 versus Louth. Galway obviously getting 17 points for obviously versus the Dubs as well. So, I think it's definitely going to be interesting in regards to that. From a Donegal or from a Galway perspective, like you mentioned, injuries there. Like Shane Walsh obviously comes off the last day. Kelly comes off. There's been a lot of, I suppose, Comer has obviously been in and out. Like, that could be huge for Galway, because if they don't have Walsh, if they don't have Comer, if they don't have Kelly, like, that could be a huge advantage forward for Donegal.
Yeah, look, I think if any of them lads are injured, you really would probably have to tip your hat to Donegal and get over the line about their fitness. And look, maybe Finian was probably having he was probably getting the slagging in early and kind of an injury list the size of his arm, but for the Donegal lads to take in. But look, if them boys are injured, the pendulum probably does swing on to Donegal, getting over the line potentially. But look, from the Galway, from Galway end of things as well, Aaron, let's not forget, Pádraig Joyce, does he have many more years in that hot seat? I know he's done a very good job with them, but is this his last year or next year? His last year, so it's kind of hard to know. Shane Walsh, Damien Comer, they're 30 now. You have Paul Conroy. Is Paul Conroy 33, 34? So very much like Armagh to a degree, Aaron. For Galway to kind of get back into this position was big stuff for them, and big for a lot of them players. And obviously, poor enough year last year, and they got to the All Ireland final in 2022. So look, the clock is probably ticking maybe for a couple of their players as well. So it's a huge opportunity for Galway. It's a big opportunity for Pádraig Joyce. It's again a very, very tight game to call. And look, if it does go to the full, the full hug, for want of a better phrase. Do you see, are we going to be singing the Hills of Donegal? We could wait and see on Sunday.
Who are you predicting then to come out on top? I mean, it is such a hard one, really, because like you look at Galway, how well they obviously played against Dublin, the momentum and everything else that they'll have. It would be a little bit mad for them to go out in an All-Ireland semi-final just a few weeks after beating Dublin. But at the same time, it's very, very hard to look past Donegal. So what are you thinking?
Oh, yeah. It just goes to show what he's like. And geez, Christ, if Jim McGuinness is watching this, he'll think I'm just obsessed with him. But I think it's nearly getting to the stage, Aaron, like for Jim McGuinness alone. And you'd nearly say this, but I know Jim Gavin had such a big say for Dublin over the years. But nearly for Jim McGuinness alone, and the way he's brought this Donegal team this year, I think Donegal will get over the line this weekend. I think if some of the key figures for Galway are injured this weekend, that could really go against them potentially too. But I just think for the work Donegal are doing under McGuinness, the way he has them move and the way they're playing their football, I think Donegal might just get over the line on Sunday, and the Hills of Donegal will be ringing around Croke Park. Oh my God, it'll be good to hear, because we haven't really heard in the last 12 years. It's been a tough couple of years for them, and again, a serious sport achievement by McGuinness to do what he's doing.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I actually predict Donegal to win it as well, to be honest with you. I think with the form that they've shown so far this year, how good they obviously looked against Louth, like they're scoring a huge amount. And I know Galway obviously beat Dublin, but I do think Dublin really underperformed that day. Like 5 points in the second half, the chances they were missing towards the end of the game. I think Dublin, for me, probably massively underperformed, and Galway took advantage of it, and fair play to them. But I do think Donegal, for me, are going to win this game as well. Gaelic Ices, I think Galway will go through after extra time. Donegal 118, Galway 120. A thriller, and will be game of the championship. I certainly hope so. I think we could all, I think we all need that in Gaelic football, to be honest with you. That's presuming Galway players are fit. I think we could very much all do with that. So John is back in Galway. I am backing. Oh no, John, you're back in Donegal as well.
Well, I have some really good. I have some really good mates from Donegal, and then my sister lives in Galway, so it's really split camp this weekend. Look, if either team were to go on and win it, I would have no qualms. But I just think this party is going to keep going with Jim McGuinness, and I think the Hills of Donegal, as I said a couple of seconds ago, is going to be ringing around Croke Park on Sunday.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you on that. And to be honest with you, I'd quietly fancy them to win the All Ireland from here as well. But we'll see what happens between now and the end of the weekend. We do have the Tailteann Cup final as well. Down are playing Laois. Repeat of obviously the semi-final from last year, where Down scored just the 9 goals. Was it 9 goals, 8 goals? I can't quite remember, to be honest with you. There were so many you couldn't keep up.
8, I think.
But 8, I think it was, yeah. Surely we don't see that again. Like, Laois have improved quite significantly, I think, since then. And to be fair to Justin McNulty, like, he's got these lads. He does have these lads ticking. There's no doubt about that.
Well, my God, poor Aisling O'Reilly. I was watching off the ball there earlier on, like, and Aisling was just doing a preview of the game this weekend with Justin McNulty. And Aaron, if you get a chance to watch later on or tomorrow or the next day, my God, it's like bleeding a stone. A very hard man to get much information out of. And Lafferty's interview was probably a breath of fresh air. You'll enjoy it. But look, I think Down will get the win this weekend. I think Conor Lafferty, after the upset of last year, I think Down will get the job done. I think there's a lot of learnings from last year that Down are probably brought into this year. It is still a very good Laois team. Obviously, O'Carroll's an extremely good footballer up front, but I think Down are just. I think that project is boiling and just tripping along nicely for Down. You know, Armagh only got over the line against Minot Championship a couple of months ago. So look, I think Down could even be a force in Ulster next year. Who knows? But I think it's more probably. I think Down probably maybe by 6 or 7 points potentially. I think Laois will. I know probably 6 or 7 points is probably still a fairly handsome win, but I think Laois will give a good account of themselves. I think obviously McNulty will have his homework done on these Down lads. Obviously a bit of a rivalry between Armagh and Down over the years, but yeah, I think Lafferty, he's bigger potentially fish to fry than a Tailteann Cup, and look, he'll be delighted to go up the steps of the Hogan Stand in Croke Park on Saturday. But yeah, I think Down, with potentially teams regressing in Ulster, which we probably will see next year, Down have a serious opportunity to nip in next year and potentially get to a semi-final, potentially get to a final, who knows. But yeah, I think Down will win the Tailteann this weekend. But Laois won't go down fighting. It's kind of funny. They won't go down fighting, but I still think it'll be quite comfortable for Down.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that as well. In fairness, like, interesting enough, I've seen a statistic during the week about Down and major finals. I think they've lost every final that they've been in since they last won the All Ireland in '94. They might have maybe won a few league finals, but their record in All Ireland finals, Tailteann Cup finals, and Ulster finals has all been defeats. So, like, that is quite a monkey on the back of Down. And to be fair, like, no better chance really than playing Laois. Like, I do think the two best teams in the Tailteann Cup this year were Down and Sligo, and they so happened to play each other obviously in the semi-finals. So it is a massive opportunity for Down to get silverware and then guarantee themselves to be in the All Ireland series next year.
Exactly, and this is what Conor Lafferty, in fairness, in his interview, he was basically saying, like, Aisling did say to him, right, like, what would it mean for you to win the Tailteann Cup this weekend? And players, the people, it'd be the huge honour and this, that, and the other. But he just remained very level-headed. He just kind of said it'd be great for this group of lads. It'd be great for their kind of progress. So he's very kind of player orientated. He's all about player development, and you can just see the work that is probably being done with Lafferty and that Down team. That I just think, he seems like he's bigger fish to fry. And again, reverse back one point, I think they will get the job done this weekend. In fairness to Justin McNulty and Laois, after the position when maybe Laois were in at times last year, Justin has done a fantastic job with them. You can see the kind of work and the way Laois are kind of playing football under McNulty. Really, they have improved. But again, learnings from last year to take into this year. They've been there last year. I just don't think. Look, no team would want to get bet in the same final that they did in last year, even from that, as you say, Hootie, monkey in the back. So I think from that alone, experience is key. And I think Down will be Tailteann Cup winners for 2024 this weekend.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that as well. I would predict Down to win the game and be Tailteann Cup champions. How many points do you think they'll end up winning it by? 7, 8 points? You think it'll be comfortable enough?
Yeah, as I said, I think Yeah, look, I think Down will win by 6 or 7 points, I would say. But again, it's so funny, Aaron, the way the championships going and football is these days. God knows what could happen on Saturday. But look, no, I think Down will be too tunnel vision. I think Lafferty will literally have them so lasered on and focused that they'll get the job done. But yeah, 6, 7 points, I would imagine.
Yeah, and interesting enough, the last two Tailteann Cup finals, both have had two Ulster teams and two Leinster teams. The Leinster teams have been successful. The Ulster teams have not been successful. So, I don't know, it could be a good omen for Laois, in fairness.
Oh, you had to mention it the 2 years ago, the Tally Cup, the Tailteann Cup.
I have to get it in somehow, you know. We couldn't go through a stream without mentioning it.
2022. Yeah, no, it could be an omen. It could absolutely be an omen. But I just think the way Conor Lafferty is and how focused he is and the type of man he is, I think, what's that saying, Aaron? Fool me once. What's that? Fool me once, you're the fool, and fool me twice, I'm the fool, so on and so forth. So no, I think Down will get the job done this weekend.
There we go. Gaelic Guy says Down have to win it, but Laois will be real close. But Down won't repeat the heartbreak from last year's final. Down 3-11, Laois 1-13. Yeah,
goals again.
Yeah, I think there will be a lot of goals in this game. Like Laois have been free scoring goals. We saw the amount of goals in this game last year, so I'd probably nearly agree with that, to be honest.
16, 8 each. 8 each.
8 each. Yeah. It's just a straight shootout, like no points, goals only.
Jim McGavin, bring in goals. F the points, get goals in. Goals are fun. Goals are fun.
Yeah, I think we'd all be for that as well. Do you know that? Like, get rid of the hand fist the point while you're at it as well.
You're not a fan, Aaron. Not a fan.
No. I don't mind it sometimes, but I think sometimes it's just a bit like you have to go. You have the opportunity at a goal. Like, go for goal. You should be going for goal in those moments. I think too many players maybe sometimes cop out and sort of avoid the risk of obviously not getting a score. But I suppose, as they say, take your points and goals will come. But there we are. So yeah, we're both back and Down, obviously, to come through the Tailteann Cup final. In terms of player of the week and bet of the week, what are you thinking?
Oh lordy, right. Player of the week this week. Player of the week. I'll go from all three games just for the jig of it. Okay, so I think from the Kerry Armagh game, I think if Armagh to get the job done, yeah, Rian O'Neill. I think it's probably obvious, but I think Rian O'Neill will have to have a big game this weekend, or he potentially Soupy Campbell coming off the bench. He could have a big say. The game on Sunday, Donegal against Galway. If Donegal are to get the job done, Oisin Gallen, he'll need to be at top for his pops. So I think Oisin Gallen would be my player to watch in that particular game because he will need to be at the races, and even maybe Padre Morgan as well. He's done a fantastic year, but great to see him do well again. Down in Laois. If Laois are to have any chance at the weekend, Ben O'Carroll will have to be playing. So Ben O'Carroll from that game. Bet of the weekend. Let me see. Oh lordy. Oh Lord, Armagh fans will not want to probably hear this, but look for the crack, Kerry and Armagh to draw.
No. I think Armagh fans right now will be throwing their heads into the ground.
I carry to win on penalties.
Oh no! I think if that happens, I'd be. I don't know. I think you might as well just ban penalty shootouts for Armagh. It's just not fair at all.
I know. But just for the crack, yeah, I'll go with that.
There we go. Yeah, I think for myself, I think in terms of players of the week, I think for Kerry Armagh, I think Tom O'Sullivan's been brilliant, and I think a player like him, like especially in such a cagey game, cornerback racing forward, getting points, I think he could be huge. I think Gavin White could, if he plays and he starts, he could equally have a very, very good game as well. Donegal, Galway, there's so many players to look at there, but I think you would be looking at an Oisin Gallen, who's been in extraordinary form, obviously, for Donegal. And as you said, Patrick McBurty, like, he could really step up, in fairness, this weekend. And Laois Down. I think you might have called him Ben O'Carroll, but I think it might be Evan O'Carroll. You're thinking of. I think Ben O'Carroll is the Roscommon footballer. To be fair, Midlands O'Carrolls, like, they are very similar.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ! I was doing so well. We're nearly done. My God, sorry, Mr. O'Carroll. Sorry, don't come after me. But yeah, Mr. O'Carroll, if Leisure have any chance this weekend, if he's not firing, I think Down will definitely win.
Oh, yeah, man. few comments here. Gaelic Ice says player of the week, Noel Grimley. Bet of the week, Armagh beat Kerry, and I don't think people are happy here about your penalty show.
Don't worry. Kerry will win in full time. Don't worry. That's probably even worse.
Yeah. To be fair, you'd probably nearly want to be just put out of your misery, but look, I think to be fair, look, if Armagh can get it all right, who knows? Maybe they can do it. But and Armagh Donegal all Ireland final, like that would be a little bit crazy, wouldn't it?
Oh, would all Ulsters, and better chance of getting tickets as well. So look, if it was to happen, but then if Armagh if Armagh won the All Ireland, I would be booking the first flight to Japan.
Really? Yeah, you don't like Armagh?
Cavan Armagh, there's a bit of a rivalry going on there the last couple of years, and Armagh, we played them in another championship game, and the players, I think it was Kieran McKeever, he forgot to line up behind a certain flag and so on and so forth. So yeah, there's been a bit of a hard loving since. Well, look, if Johnny Murphy's watching, that's just to annoy him. How does that sound?
There we are. Well, look, I think that very much wraps it all up. Both semi-finals discussed, and obviously the Tailteann Cup final as well. To finish up, Gaelic Eye says it will be the 5th time they play this year. If it's Armagh Donegal All-Ireland final. Yeah, because they played each other twice, obviously in the league, the Ulster final. Where was there somewhere? Oh, they played each other in the McKenna Cup as well, didn't they? So yeah, that would be mental. But there we are. That is how the championship is nowadays structured. So yeah, cheers anyone who tuned in. If you could hit the like button and subscribe, that'd be very much appreciated. Make sure to check out John's podcast as well, the JMac podcast, when you get a chance. And until the next one, we will catch you all later.